Welcome to Real Estate Investing for Women. On this show, you will learn how to create wealth through real estate the blissful way. That means with very little stress and very little time. We talk about strategies, mindset, heart set, money smarts, resources, and so much more to ensure you're able to create the success you most deeply desire. Now, here's your host, Moneeka Sawyer.
Today, I am so excited to welcome to the show Dwan Bent-Twyford. Dwan started as a broke single mom who had been fired from Denny's. I shouldn't laugh at that, but it's just like you'll get to know her now and you'll be like, really? She now heads up Investors Edge University, a company that specializes in training new and seasoned investors in a wide range of real estate investing techniques through live workshops, weekly webinars, and other stuff. Having flipped over 2,000 deals herself, she is more than qualified to share her vast knowledge of real estate investing with America. Dwan is affectionately known as the Queen of Short Sales and is considered to be the nation's #1 expert on short sales and foreclosures. She has written 3 bestsellers, Short Sale Pre-Foreclosure Investing and How to Sell a House When It's Worth Less Than the Mortgage. And her most recent New York Times bestseller was written with Steve Forbes, Successonomics. Her goal never changes. It's always to make a difference in the lives of others. Hey there, Dwan. Welcome to the show.
I've been so excited. I'm waiting for today. I'm so happy to be here.
Yeah, we had so much fun on your show. So I've been looking forward to this conversation forever.
You are fantastic.
Yay. This was fun, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
So fun. Yeah, it was great. Your show, when you were on my show, it was so great.
Good. Yeah. Ladies, we ended up talking for her show is supposed to be an hour. We were on for like an hour and 15 minutes. We're both like, we can't stop talking.
I know. But people listened. It came out actually a week or so ago and everyone listened. It got a lot of hits and people loved it.
Good. I'm so glad. I'm glad to hear that. I'm always happy to offer my experience too, right? My wisdom. Yeah. So thank you. But today is all about you. So Dwan, tell us your amazing getting started story because I love it.
It's so funny. It is really funny when I think about getting fired from Denny's because I used to work third shift. So I worked 10 at night till 6 in the morning. And it was in Fort Lauderdale. And it was what they called the big Denny's, which is all the nightclubs were around there. So people came in at night.
Uh-huh.
And, I knew a lot of people that were in the bar business and different things. And so I think once in a while I would sort of maybe have a drink or something with one of my people. And, probably did something that I shouldn't have done. And they had transferred this daytime manager. She was in trouble for something. So she got transferred to the nighttime. Well, she hated the nighttime people because she was like that 5 a.m. getting people their breakfast and they're going to work. She hated all the loud people that came in at night. So I don't know, one night I think I might have had a drink or two at work and she had said something to me and I sassed her back pretty solid. And at literally 3:45 in the morning, I got fired. I remember looking out and looking back and thinking, who gets fired at 3:45 in the morning? Like, what is that about?
Yeah.
But I in hindsight, it was, getting fired from Denny's was super embarrassing. It's like, really, it's Denny's. Mm-hmm. And nothing against anyone out there that works at Denny's. I worked there a long time. I loved it. I still love those Grand Slams. But I thought, how on earth am I fired from a job like that? Mm-hmm. And as it turned out in my 20s, I was fired from a lot of jobs, like a lot. And mostly I would work for a company and I could how you can look at all your friends and what all their problems are and you can tell them how to solve all their problems. So I was that person. I would work for a company and I'd go, hey, if you would do this and this and this and this, your company would be so much better to the owners of the company. And many people just did not appreciate me telling them how they could do a way better job if they were listening to this young 20-year-old girl that had like the blonde hair and the big Madonna perm and, not really taking me serious. And so I got fired from a couple of jobs.
Interesting.
Sassing, back talking, giving my opinion too often and too freely.
Mhm.
So I was an entrepreneur inside. I just didn't know it yet.
Right. So tell us about that story, like the real estate story.
So I got married. So I was in my late 20s. I got married. I had a baby. I was 30 years old. And in my mind, I think I kind of thought this was my Prince Charming. And we had talked about that. And I was going to stay home and raise kids and be like the Girl Scout mom and the homeroom mom and the cookie mom. And like that was kind of where my head was at. And then when my daughter was only 8 months old, we separated kind of unexpectedly. And he took the car and the money and cleaned out the bank and he just was gone. And all of a sudden I was like, oh my God, I have this 8-month-old baby and I have no job and I have no money and I have no husband. So literally squelched my thought of what I thought I would do was just smashed in like one swoop. And so it was like, I guess people, there's this term where people say, oh, they have like a come to Jesus moment where something really bad happens in your life and you really have to really look hard and make a decision that could be life changing. And so I'm 30 years old, my daughter's little, and I'm like, you know what? I still want to do those things. I want to be the homeroom mom. I want to be the cookie mom. I want to be the field trip mom. I still want that. So how do I make that happen? Because I've been fired from like 10 jobs.
Oh, man.
So I thought, you know what? I could work for myself. Then I could take all those opinions I've had and put them to use. But I didn't have any skills and I didn't know what to do. So that was my big dilemma. And as I was going out, kind of looking for jobs and kind of looking for something to do, I ran across some guys that were investors. And they said to me, like, we buy houses and we fix them up and we sell them. So my mind, because I know nothing about real estate and I know nothing about investing, I know nothing about anything, my mind hears we buy houses, we decorate, and then we sell them. And I thought, I can decorate. I have excellent taste. I will decorate houses. Buy them and I'll decorate them and I'll sell them. As you know, rehabbing and decorating are not remotely the same thing.
Exactly.
Not even like this much, but I didn't know that. So I honestly think partially being so naive was really a blessing for me. Because if I had truly understood what rehabbing and the depths of it and what it would entail, I'm not sure I would have actually had the guts to do it.
Right.
So I think sometimes being naive, for me personally, being naive was one of my greatest blessings because I didn't really know what I was getting into. But once I was in it, I was like, well, okay, now I have to make this happen. So I rehabbed this house. I took classes at Home Depot because I didn't know how to do things. I made $22,000 on my first house. And I thought, wow, I was in this house. I worked in this house. My daughter was with me. I made $22,000. It's like, this is the greatest thing in the world. I'm going to do it again. And then 30 years later, here I am.
I love that. I love the whole thing about like being naive and like, you're like, oh, I think I'm just going to decorate. And then
I did. Moneeka, I got this house. I ordered carpet. I knew how to paint. So I painted the house. Back then, people made a lot of custom made blinds. I custom made blinds. I put in plants. I did all this stuff. And I remember looking at the kitchen going, gosh darn, that avocado kitchen and the yellow appliances. I don't know who's going to buy the cabinets. I thought, who's going to buy this house really? So I thought, I need to fix that, but I didn't know how. And I had been to Home Depot a lot, buying just some things. And the guys were like, you should take some of the classes. I was like, what classes? They go, oh yeah, we do them Saturdays. We do these classes. And, and I was like, okay. So my first class, this is funny. My first class was how to lay tile. So I thought, okay, the kitchen and the bathrooms need tiling. So this is a good class for me. So I measure the kitchen. I take the class. This is a 1-hour class now, mind you, 1 hour.
Wow.
And then when I'm done, I say to the guy, these are the dimensions of the kitchen. So I need the tile to grow out the spaces for this much. And I went back in all my excitement and tiled an entire kitchen. And then later I thought, I probably should have started with the bathroom or something smaller. The whole kitchen. And then I thought, what? Because I had to take some of it up. It wasn't even. It was my first time. Yeah. And I remember looking at the bathroom and thinking, I should have started in a smaller space. But at this point, it was done. But when it was done, I thought, that looks pretty good. I'm real proud of myself right there. And there it went. I started learning how to fix things.
Nice. Okay, Dwan. So now, after all this time, you've been in the market for a long time, right? So
Long time.
talk to me a little bit. The market's a little strange right now, right? So talk to me a little bit about what you see happening in the market today.
Well, the big thing is everybody had that giant forbearance agreement since, what was that, in March of 2020? And
Mm-hmm.
now we're rolling up on the end of 2021, but there are so many people, millions of people have not been able to make their mortgage payments.
Mm-hmm.
And one of the biggest things, Moneeka, is the when you listen, the banks and the people in the media, they use the word forbearance
Mm-hmm.
specifically. And
Mm-hmm.
most people don't really understand what a forbearance agreement is. So when you're in a forbearance agreement, the bank may say, oh, at the end of the time, we'll put your payments on the back, or we'll take your late payments and divide them up over 2 years and add them to your payments. So it's not like a loan modification where you make a couple payments and you're out of foreclosure. The people have been moving along in the foreclosure process, even though banks weren't allowed to actually go to foreclosure sales. So a
Oh.
forbearance has caused millions of people to inadvertently find themselves in foreclosure right now because they're not able to put 18 payments on the back. And
Mm-hmm.
people were behind before that, didn't qualify. So they're like, they're on the door of the foreclosure sale right now. So it has made for really interesting real estate investing time. And
Mm-hmm.
one of the things that I'm a really big fan of is creative financing. So
Mm-hmm.
I'm a very big subject to person. I love equity. I even equity partner with homeowners. If they have a large amount of equity, I will partner with homeowners like that. Of course, I wholesale and rehab and things like that. But even like rehabbing is tough right now because all the supplies cost so much money.
That's right. The
Plywood
supply
was
chain is tough.
$18 a board, and plywood's $100 a board. It's like,
Yeah.
how
Yeah. Yeah.
are you
Yeah.
going to rehab a house right now? So I feel like creative financing is the place that people need to be coming out of COVID and moving forward and trying to get back on track with their mortgage payments. And I mean, even last week, my daughter was the door knocking in Denver, and she met this young girl, 27. She's like, I'm $20,000 behind. The bank said they were going to put the payments on the back. I've been trying for a month and they haven't done it yet. And she got served foreclosure notice.
Oh
This is
God.
a young 27-year-old girl that's like, her dreams are crushed right now because the banks didn't do. And they never said they put them on the back. They just said they put people in a forbearance. And
Mm-hmm.
that is, when people don't understand the word, as soon as I heard the word forbearance, I was like, oh, this is going to be a wicked disaster.
Mm-hmm.
When this ends, this is going to be really bad for people. So I told everyone I know, every student I have, do not miss your payments. I don't care. Do not, because when it's all said and done, it's going to be a disaster, which is turning into as we speak.
Yeah. It's so hard because people don't understand. There was so much
Yeah.
transition happening, even with the banks. The government was not taking care of the banks. So the banks were trying to kind of figure it out and survive themselves. Not that I'm saying the banks are good. That's not what I'm saying. But what I'm saying is that there was pain all the way from the top
All the
because
way.
the government was trying to take care of certain people, but it wasn't taking care of the entire, you might call it a supply chain in the banking industry.
Yes.
There was a lot of suffering. And so now it gets spread out to everybody. And it's not like the intention was that way, but that's kind of how it's working out because it's unprecedented. We've never seen anything like this.
No, I never even in my wildest dream imagined something like this could happen.
Right, exactly. And so now the banks are trying to figure it out. They're scrambling too, but we get caught in the shuffle. And so it is really, I also see, unfortunately, a lot of painfulness happening for the people that didn't pay their mortgages.
And I understand a lot of people live very paycheck to paycheck.
That's right.
When they had no paycheck and they were getting unemployment, but it wasn't enough, people have to buy food.
That's
and
right.
Keep the lights on, and they have to keep on the power, and they have to keep that on. So people had to focus. Okay, well, I have to eat, feed my kids and my family. I need my life. I mean, I need these things. And so people are like, okay, the government's letting me not pay right now, so it's good.
Mm-hmm.
But now that it's done, like this young 27-year-old girl, she says, like, I don't know what to do. I owe 20 grand. They won't put it on the bank. They said they would. They haven't. I'm arguing. I hired an attorney, and like this person's life is completely upside down. And I mean, a lot of people that had more money were able to stay on track and able to keep their payments a lot. it is always like the middle or lower class people that get hurt by all these government decisions.
Right. It's true.
And it's sad because those are the people that end up in foreclosure the most to start with. So it's a snowball, and
It
it's getting
is.
bigger and
Well,
bigger and bigger.
And we don't know if those things hadn't happened, what would have happened either, right? So I do want to say, because I feel like we've gone down a rabbit hole and it feels bad. And just what I want to say, ladies, I want you to hear this. If you're one of the ladies that is in this situation that Dwan and I are talking about, or end up having to deal with foreclosure, please understand that yes, it turns your world upside down. It is not the end of the world. Every successful person has had huge setbacks. It does not end your life. It does not define who you are.
That's
right. It is simply a circumstance today. So for those of you that are hearing me and are part of the suffering, and please, I'm so sorry, like, let me know how I can help. But if you're also like, just understand that it's part of our journey, all of us, every single successful person has had huge setbacks. So please stay with us. Don't leave us.
Don't leave.
Don't leave. And then those of us that are not there, but are looking at what Dwan is saying as far as strategies, you can help people get out of that foreclosure situation. You can help them get out of trouble and out of pain by some of these strategies that Dwan is talking about, which is why I'm so excited to be talking to her about it today, because even I'm starting to see it. Now we're at the end of 2021. 2022 is starting, and this is when it's really going to hit hard, because as the foreclosures are coming, they don't actually hit the markets for 3, 4, 6 months, right? So that's when you finally discover, oh, this is what it really was, right? And so what Dwan's going to be talking about today is really about how can we help those people get out of trouble so that they don't have to suffer that pain. And you should get paid for doing good work in the world. I'm just saying. And so it's okay for you to get paid to help them. You help them, and you grow your own wealth so that you can do more good in the world. Because if you don't have wealth, you can't do as much in the world, right? That's part of like the way that I set up my life too, is that it's really the wealth is a piece of the goodness that I can provide. It amplifies all that goodness, right? So that's, I just want to move forward from that, because I felt like we're going down this rabbit hole.
No, I want to jump in just real quick and say 2 things just really quickly. When I went through my divorce, I had lost a house in foreclosure and I had my car repossessed. So I know how these people feel, because I have no husband, I have no car, I have no house, I have no money, I have a baby. I was like, okay, I have a baby. So I get the winning ticket right there. But it was really, I think it's part of what made me be successful, helped me, was everyone I met, I was like, listen, I know exactly how you feel, like exactly how you feel. And my foreclosure, working in that space, became more about helping people than how much money I could make, because I know if I help people and do good, the money will come. And another thing I want women and men, everyone to understand, we get paid for the problems that we solve. So if you are solving a foreclosure problem, there is nothing wrong with making $25,000 or $30,000. If you are mowing someone's yard, you're probably making $100 a month. You get paid for the problem that you solve. And what you and I do, and a lot of your listeners and my listeners, we solve some people's biggest problem they'll ever have, which is losing their home. So there's no shame in making money doing that, because the person that we help gets a fresh start, and they will eventually own a home again, and their life will get better. And they'll always remember how Dwan and Moneeka helped them move out of this tragic situation and get a fresh start. And they'll look back on us as like, those were angels that God sent to me to help me start over. So people don't need to feel guilty about making money for what we do, because if we don't help them, they are going to lose their house. They are going to get kicked out. And it's going to be a mess.
It's a bigger nightmare for them.
It's so much bigger of a nightmare.
Yeah, exactly. So thank you for that, Dwan. And I have been uber lucky, and I'm super conservative on so many levels. And so I haven't had to suffer through those particular challenges, but I have had many people in my life that have, and I've had my own set of challenges, right? And so just understand that we Dwan knows where you're coming from, and I
get it.
understand challenge, right? And so, and that's kind of, that's another reason why I wanted Dwan to talk to you about these strategies, because she's been on the other side, right? And so when she comes to the table to teach about this, she comes from a broader perspective than a lot
I
of
have
people.
lived it.
Yes, exactly.
I always say your mess becomes your message.
That's right. It's so
If you've
true.
gone through something, it gives you a message for other people to try to help them maybe not go through it or help them out of it.
Help them out of it. Exactly. Exactly. Thank you. So Dwan, I want to move forward with, in this market, let's real quickly talk about your top 3 strategies that you love right now. And then I want to move into doing a little bit more of a deep dive on sub twos. I was just going to say, and when we talk about it, it's like people were like, what the heck is a sub two? We do actually need to break down what those titles mean too.
Okay. We do. When you're in the business, you just assume everybody knows what you're talking about.
That's right.
But a subject to my top 3 things. One is doing short sales, because banks they have millions of properties that people aren't making payments on. And some people owe what their house is worth. The market's going to, it will correct itself and the prices will go down. So short sales are a way for people. Basically, a short sale is the homeowner's in trouble. They contact you, they reach out to you. You're like, hey, I'm going to help you out, but you owe what your house is worth. And you negotiate with the bank to take less as a full payoff. So you might find a $200,000 house. You can, the bank will take $100,000 as a full payment. And now as an investor, you can rehab it. You can keep it for a rental. You can wholesale it, but the homeowner gets the fresh start. So short sales, I actually trademarked the term short sales back in the 90s. Oh, as it applies to real estate investing. Yes, I also trademarked the queen of short sales. And I, not to brag, but I wrote the very first short sale home study program for real estate investors.
Wow.
So I'm really excited I helped start that industry. So short sales are great, but they're not an exit strategy. You still have to, get rid of the house. And then, I'm not a big fan at this very moment of rehabbing and things that a lot of people want to do, because the prices of all the supplies have gone up so much, it really kills your profit margin. Mm-hmm. So I am a big fan of rentals. And a lot of people are not going to like this because they don't understand it, but I'm a big fan of the Section 8 program. Mm-hmm. All my rentals are all Section 8. And just really quick, like to summarize in a sentence, what it is designed for is for these single women that have multiple kids. The program is designed to pay their rent. They go to college, they get a degree, and they get a job. And then the government takes a piece of their paycheck and matches it. And they get a house, an FHA house. They get guaranteed to buy a home at the end of the program. Ooh. So there are women in the Section 8 program, which is government subsidized housing, that are using it properly. And then, as you know, there are lifers that their whole life, their mom, their kids, they all live on government subsidy for life. So I don't rent to people like that, but I rent to the ones that are in the program going to college. And then when they're done, they buy a house. And it's like, well, what better thing than to help a single mom with multiple children get out of poverty, and they get their family out of poverty. Mm-hmm. So I am a big fan. And during all of COVID, when people weren't paying rent, Section 8 paid at the first of the month, automatic deposit. I never missed a rent payment.
Nice.
So it's a big, so I'm a big fan of that. I know people are like, oh, I don't know, those people, but if you really understand it, it's a great way to help people. And we're really mostly helping women. In all my 20 years, I've only had one male tenant. They were all women. So, mm-hmm. So I'm a big fan of rentals that way, because if there's ever another rental moratorium and people don't have to pay rent, landlords go bankrupt, right? Because they can't make their payments. Right. And then, of course, I'm huge on subject twos. And the quick version is a homeowner is in distress. They don't know. They just want to walk away at this point. They don't know what to do. They deed the house to us. So now we own the property, and then we can rent it out, or we can owner finance it to somebody else. But we're just basically, they're on the mortgage, we're on the title, the ownership side. They deed the house to us. We take it subject to the existing mortgage, and then we turn around. I personally owner finance mine back out. So I do owner financing, and which I think you and I are going to be talking about coming up soon. And owner financing, that is a person that really wants home ownership again, but maybe they just can't qualify for a bank loan. because they had a blip, like COVID, they had a blip or they had a health issue. And the bank says, no, I can't give you money. But I look at their credit and I'm like, well, you paid, had a blip, paid. You deserve a chance.
Mm-hmm.
So I give people a chance for home ownership again. I guess when I think about it, I'm trying to help everybody.
Yes, I can see that. And that's kind of how I run my business
saying
too.
it out loud. It's like every single method I do, it helps somebody, just help somebody get back on their feet.
Right. Yeah. So subject to, is that legal in all states in the United States?
It is. The number one question, I'm sure you know this, when you tell someone about subject twos, they go, what about the due on sale clause?
Right.
Everybody says that.
Right.
And in my 20 years and my hundreds and hundreds of subject twos, I've done like up close to 500, hundreds of subject twos. No bank has ever said, oh my God, you're making the mortgage payments on time. They were not on time and now they are. I want the house back. Like they, right. It doesn't happen like that.
Yeah.
And the thing is, investors are like, oh, I heard about this subject to, the bank could take the house from you. But it doesn't happen. The homeowners have not been making payments for maybe a year. All of a sudden, there's payments coming in every time. The bank only cares about the money. They don't care where it comes from. And so I've never even known of an investor to have a bank call a due on sale clause. So the homeowners deed the house to me. My name is on the deed. They are on the mortgage. At some point, you want to refinance them off. So I sell the house to somebody else. I help them fix their credit. So in a few years' time, they can refinance the house and own it completely by themselves. And this other homeowner got all these on-time payments all of a sudden, and their credit got better. And I made money in the meantime. And a subject to house, on an average subject to house that appears to have no equity, it is not uncommon to make $50,000.
Wow. That's amazing.
It's a lot of money. Subject twos are a lot of money.
Yeah, that's awesome. So I just feel, so I've heard a lot about subject to myself, and we've actually had a couple of people on the show that have talked about subject to. So I'm really excited because I've been trying to get some of them back. Let's talk about this again, and haven't been, this is the thing, right? We are all out there educating and we're doing the business. Like I don't deal with anybody who's not actually in it, right? Yeah. Because they need to know what's going on in the current market. And so many of my contacts were like, oh, we're like doing the thing, right? We're not teaching right now. So anyway, so I'm so glad that we're getting to talk about this. So we could keep talking forever and we're already out of time. I can't believe it. But what I want to do is talk about a webinar that Dwan and I are going to do. And this is so funny because we didn't decide on this before we got online today. And then I got so excited. I was like, let's do a webinar. I'm so excited.
I'm so excited.
So Dwan, so first of all, ladies, here's a couple of things that you need to know. Dwan and I are doing a webinar on January 6th, 2022. I can't believe I just said that. January 6th, 2022. I know. At 5 p.m. Pacific time. And to get more information, go to blissfulinvestor.com/Dwan. And Dwan is spelled D as in David, W as in winner, A, N as in Nancy. So it's Dwan. So I'll give that to you again. But Dwan, tell us about what you're going to cover in the webinar.
So I have to tell you, I get so excited when I can do a subject to webinar because a lot of people are like, oh, I don't know, it's really creative. They don't understand it. But when you understand it, it is one of the greatest ways to make money. You're helping the original homeowner restore credit, and you're helping the new person be able to own the home again. So what I'm going to teach is I'm going to show a couple of ways to find deals because you have to find a deal. I'm going to show people an actual case study, how I found the house, what they owed, what their interest rate was, what their payment was, how we structured and owner financing. I'm going to show exactly how to do that owner financing. And I also have a 5-year guide to show you in year 1, if you do, one a month, let's say you make this much per month. And then year 2, you add and you add and you add. And over the course of 5 years, you can make about $1.2 million just doing one little tiny deal a month, which is really easy to do.
Wow.
So I'm going to show people how to become millionaires.
I love that.
And it's a perfect formula and it works 100% of the time. I've done, like I said, like close to 500 of them and they've all been amazing.
That's awesome.
And I love my tenants. I love the homeowner. I love the tenant. I'm happy to structure this deal. And it's not even hard to do. It's just a matter of having the right paperwork and knowing how to structure the deal so that everything's above board and everything is legal and somebody won't come back and say, oh, I didn't understand. Everybody gets it.
Nice. I love that. So, ladies, webinar. Yay!
Yeah, I know. I'm so excited to do a webinar with you.
Yeah.
You're like TED Talk famous. I get to do a webinar with you. I feel so honored.
It's going to be fun. Ladies, so Dwan tries to keep her webinar to an hour, but we can't stop talking to each other. So, like, allow 90 minutes.
Allow 90.
Yeah. And
I
then
try
we'll
to
do
stick to
Q&A.
an hour and 15. Because I know people are busy, but it is a great topic. And I honestly believe that creative financing will be the powerhouse of 2022.
Yeah, I'm with you on that. I love that.
Really?
Yeah. Good. So blissfulinvestor.com/Dwan, D as in David, W as in winner, A, N as in Nancy, Dwan. So blissfulinvestor.com/Dwan. It's going to be January 6th, 2022 at 5 p.m. Pacific time. So ladies, mark that down and I will send you reminders. Don't worry, but we will.
And I'll even send a couple little videos out with some, hey, I'm going to teach you this and this and this, so they can get excited about all the things that they're going to learn.
Yeah. And ladies, if you're not on my list yet and would like to get reminders, please make sure that you go to blissfulinvestor.com, sign up at the very top. There's an opt-in for my download, which is my favorite strategy, right? So you can opt into that and then you get onto my list and that way you'll get the updates on when these things are happening. So, so definitely go there and sign up for the opt-in so that you can get the reminders too.
We're going to start everyone off with such a bang.
I know. I'm so excited.
They're just going to be like, I cannot believe that there's this bunch of deals and so much stuff out there. They're going to be like, holy cow, this is the best January ever.
Good. Yay. Let's start 2022 off with a bang. That sounds awesome. So Dwan, we need to get moving over to extra. So ladies, and actually Dwan, I don't know if you remember this, but we've got 3 rapid fire questions before we move to the next show. But before we do that, I do want to let the ladies know what we're talking about in extra. And that is Dwan and I have, we're talking quite a lot about sort of how women treat women. And as we're moving into 2022, there's so much that has changed in our worlds and our lives. And one of the things that I would really like to see change, and I'm already seeing it, but what I'd like to see is how us women lift each other up. I find that successful women, we have already kind of learned that it's a necessity and women have to move towards that. I remember a friend of mine said that her name is Lisa Gibbons, but she said to me once, girls compete, women collaborate. And
great.
Isn't that great? And so Dwan and I were having this phenomenal conversation about sort of women and how we treat each other and how we each see things. It might give you a little bit of perspective on your own life and who you're hanging out with and help you to start engaging with people that will be more uplifting and you also be an uplifter for them. So we're going to be talking about that in extra. So stay tuned for that. But before we go there, Dwan, are you ready for our 3 rapid fire questions?
I am.
Okay. So Dwan, give us one super tip on getting started in real estate investing.
Ooh, okay. So to get started, I think just to get started, you need to find someone that you feel like you're on the same moral compass with them and maybe learn and listen and not try to wing it like I did. Go in with some more knowledge. Because I was a trial and error for like a decade. So go in with some knowledge, but pay attention to who you listen to and make sure they're actually a real estate investor, not a marketer.
That's right.
Because shiny objects don't make you any money.
That's right. Isn't that the truth? Okay. And then, so tell us one strategy on being successful as a real estate investor.
You know what? Honestly, it's just perseverance. I started 30 years ago and there were very few women in the industry and hardly no women teaching for sure. And if I had let all the people and the naysayers and the voices that I heard around me affect me, I would never have stayed true to the path. So cut out the negativity, cut out the noise and focus on your path and stay persistent and success will come to you.
Perfect. And then what would you say is one daily practice, Dwan, that you do that contributes to your personal success?
You know what? It's probably like not even a success practice, but when I get up in the morning, I take care of myself first. I drink my water, I take my collagen, I eat, I do all those things to take care of myself. Whereas I used to open my eyes, grab my phone, and get on it. And then what happens is your day gets away from you, and next thing you know, it's like noon, and you haven't even eaten yet, and you're starving, and And so I wake up, and in the first 2 hours of the day, I only take care of myself. And some people are like, oh, but it's so selfish to spend so much time on yourself. But if you don't take care of yourself, you can't take care and help others.
Right.
So I learned about a decade ago, I got to take care of me to help everybody else. And women feel guilty, I think, about that because they got to get the kids to school and make breakfast and and then they don't feel like they have time to take care of themselves, especially women. And we need to realize that if we don't take care of us, we can't take care of everybody else.
Right.
So I faithfully every morning do my routines before anything happens.
Good. And a lot of successful people, I don't know if you've noticed this, ladies, a lot of successful people say this, right? So
they do.
Super,
and
super
just for the record, I'm not that person that says get up at 5 a.m. and do all this stuff.
That's
every person I've interviewed is like, I get up at 4, I get up at 5. I'm like, I wake up at 7:30. Like,
right? I do too. I wake up at 8.
I don't know why you wake up. Why do you do? I don't even set an alarm. And like today, I woke up at 8:30. It's like, okay, I needed the extra sleep. So I'm not that like get up at 5 a.m. and be the early bird and get the worm. I'm like, well, if that's the case, don't be the worm.
Yeah, exactly.
But you have to somewhere along the way, you have to put self-care and make it a priority because really trying to run a successful business is difficult. It's mentally challenging. Physically, it's challenging. It's exciting. But if you're not up for it, it's draining and dragging and it's not fun.
Mm-hmm. So well said. I love that.
And no 5 a.m.s over here. We're 7:30, 8 a.m. My life works just fine getting out of bed at 8.
That's right. You can be a multimillionaire and get up at 8 a.m. It can work. It does work. Yes. So that's awesome. Thank you so much for all that you've offered on this portion of the show, Dwan. This has been so much fun.
I appreciate you having me on, Moneeka. I really look forward to this for months. I'm so excited to be on talking to you and all your successful women.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. And ladies, we got more. We're going to be talking about women uplifting other women in Extra. So if you are subscribed to Extra, stay tuned. There's more to come. If you're not, please subscribe at realestateinvestingforwomenextra.com. You get the first 7 days for free. And so check it out, and then you can stay subscribed or not, whatever, but go to realestateinvestingforwomenextra.com. For those of you that are leaving Dwan and I today, thank you so much for joining us. You know how much I appreciate you. I hope you're having a lovely week and I will talk to you soon. Take care. Bye.
Bye, everyone.
I hope you enjoyed today's show. If you'd like to find out more about how to become a blissful millionaire, go to blissfulinvestor.com. See you next time.